Alycia, thank you so much for doing this coaching call with me.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you.
Let's start with a little introduction. Tell us about you.
Okay, my name is Alicia, and I am mom of four, and I live in the Northern California Bay Area. In my past life, I was a speech therapist. I still have my license, but I'm home right now with my four little kids. My oldest is 10, my youngest is 2, and I really enjoy dance and the art, but most of my days right now are just spent trying to hold it all together with my little one.
Yeah.
And I'm reaching out to you for help with trying to figure out more balance in having exercise in my life and being able to fit that in somewhere.
Now, knowing you, I know you've done some deep work with this too. Like typically with exercise being such an emotionally charged habit, there's a lot underneath the surface about the shoulds that are coming into play with that. Like why I should exercise, how much I should exercise, what type of exercise I should be doing. Have you explored that? Or is that something you would like assistance with? Or is it more of just the how to? How do I get this done?
I mean, I think it's probably a little bit of both. I I definitely feel like I have had seasons in my life where I've been able to fit it in and then seasons where I haven't. And I think I'm at a place where I don't like shame myself into exercise. It's
Hmm.
more that I just am realizing I need it and I'm done having kids and I really, really, really just want to focus on getting like health back and
Yeah.
getting back to a place where I feel comfortable in my body.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like the deep work there is pretty solid in terms of why you want to do it, which is really important. So don't worry, we're going to circle back to some other deeper lingering shoulds that might be playing into this problem. Let's start though by talking about what are your current obstacles to fitting exercise in. Just list them all off.
Okay. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about this because I feel like
Hmm.
there's so many and
Mm,
it differs from day to day. But, I have the sleep issue of my youngest is just finally now kind of sleeping through the night, but he
mm,
still has pretty wonky hours because, he's the youngest of four and things are
yeah.
all over the place. So I have that issue of like, I'm just really tired.
Mm,
And, so mornings are really challenging too because I don't know when my baby's going to wake up. And it's not like an easy thing when he wakes up. So I can't just like throw him to my husband because he might just scream for an hour and then, that throws the whole morning off. Right. So I feel like early mornings are out. And then by the evening, I'm just way too tired. So
mm.
there's that issue. The childcare piece is a main issue too. If I in an ideal world, I could just have a nanny or somebody, but it's even hard to just find someone to pay to watch your child to go to childcare so you can go to the gym during the day. So there's those time constraints. And then there's also the constraint of like, okay, just do something at home. But then it's, there's nothing more frustrating than starting to work out and then you get derailed because your kid wants to jump on you and you're a horse or something.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect. And then I feel like, you do have some downtime or like you're like, okay, put in a show for your kid, but then you feel so guilty because it's like, well, I have 8,000 other things I need to be doing too. So that whole like prioritizing and not feeling guilty that you're working out when you should be doing the dishes and things. So
Okay.
I feel like there's lots of factors that get in the way.
I mean, so many. And I relate to all of these. And I know everyone listening does too. So you're not alone in that. So, just to kind of recap in general, we've got some exhaustion issues as well as unpredictability within your schedule, both with your child and his sleep, including interruptions for yourself, like when you are trying to work out at home, and also just the mind interruptions that you're getting, like when you feel derailed because another priority pops up that might not even be a kid, but like something else urgent. Prioritizing you mentioned, and then also money, like childcare or gym. And childcare, is there
Yeah.
childcare at the gym potentially?
Yeah, there is. And then another aspect of that, which I know as a mom you think about is like, okay, then we start going to the gym, the childcare at the gym, but then they start getting sick all the time. And here comes the winter and then it's just going to be a wash because
Mm-hmm.
maybe we're not even going to be able to go. So, then thinking about that. And then think, okay, then they get sick, then everybody's sick. And it's like, oh, do I want to do that all winter long? I really want to work out, but I also don't want to deal with that. So,
Yeah. And sometimes you finally, go forward with the gym and the childcare there, and then you have a kid or more who just don't do it. Like they will not
oh, yeah, who won't even
cooperate.
go? That's a whole other thing, too.
This is why I've primarily worked, well, I've only worked out from home for over 5 years. So if I understand
Yes,
a lot
yes.
of this.
You know
Okay.
all these things.
Well, and but that not to say like, oh, I figured it out. It's more of a seasonal thing too. And right now we are still going to honor your season because we can't dismiss any of these, right? Like we can't just say, oh, that
Mm.
doesn't matter or that's just in your head. Like these are all really real and really valid. And so our goal is to help you get into consistent exercise again for the reasons you deeply want it, but in a way that is still honoring the limitations of your season. Does that feel good to you?
Perfect. I
Yeah.
follow a lot of health people, and this one lady was saying that she's like, I look back now as a mom of three, and when I was a mom of one or even didn't have kids, I would tell people like, you're just not prioritizing this enough. You're just not making this um habit or something that you care about enough. And then she's like, and then I became a mom of three, and that
Yeah.
exhaustion and that just
Mhm.
overwhelm of life was so real. And I kind of ate my words and realized, yeah, this actually is really hard.
Man, I admire her courage to be honest about that because it's
Hmm.
really easy to just blame yourself when really these are just your circumstances. And yeah, there might be some internal ways that we can work on that. And I think we'll touch on that. But we got to start by first honoring these are real. These circumstances are
Yeah.
not just you not having enough willpower.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's do something that I haven't done for a bit. And it's called repotentializing. And what that means is you reinsert potential back into this problem. Because when we have a problem like this, it's really easy, understandably, to think at the level of the problem. So we're just seeing more and more of the obstacles, which we honestly have to do in order to work around them. But it's really hard to find solutions. So instead, to think at the level of the solution, we are going to insert possibility back into this. And this is where I'm going to ask you to kind of push yourself a little bit, but not in a way that's about toxic positivity or ignoring your circumstances. But let's still just throw out any way possible we can come up with solutions for this. And this is just a brainstorming session, just like your English teacher used to do, where there's like no wrong answer. And in fact, many of these answers might not be realistic or possible in any way, but we're still going to list them. Are you open to that?
Okay. Yeah, I love that idea.
Okay, so we talked about some obstacles. Now tell me, what are some possible solutions?
Okay. So possible solution number one, of course, is just join the gym with childcare, right?
Okay.
And just deal with what comes. Another possible solution would be try and work out some sort of schedule with my husband where I could know he's going to be home on X days at this time so I can go in the evening. Another possible solution would be to try to better maybe sleep train my son so that I could maybe go at like 6:30 a.m.
Okay. I'm just writing
Um,
these all down. Keep going.
to Okay. Another possible solution would just be find something like Instagram app that I could do or YouTube, um, some short class that I could do in the middle of the day somewhere and just fit it in. Maybe
Okay.
let my son, watch a show or something and prioritize that. Oh, another solution might be to find some sort of way to maybe just do lunges while he's at the park. I've
Yeah.
heard that's been an obstacle for me is that he will not sit in the stroller anymore either. So it's like, I just want to go on a walk for
Like
an
you can't
hour, but
even
I
do a
can't
walk.
because
Mhm.
he
Yeah.
won't stay in the stroller for the lifetime. So, let's see. Another cost. Oh, maybe look into like my mother-in-law doing childcare so I can go to the gym in the middle of the day, maybe once or twice a week. Maybe find another friend that wants to swap childcare during the day, do something.
You're doing
I don't
great.
know that I have anymore. Or Saturdays, yeah, the other idea of just trying to block out time, like, on the weekend, maybe, to get some quality exercise time in. Then just try to include my son a little bit more, trying to include him in the exercise in some sort of way that feels a little more productive.
Okay. So right now we have a big long list and I wrote these down so we can reference them. If you're like, what was that one I said? I can let you know what they are. So sitting in this possibility, what's coming up for you?
I'm feeling a little more hopeful. I feel like, of course, I've run all these ideas through my head on my own, but I think that I automatically start setting up the barriers too
Yeah.
as I think of them.
Mhm.
So I think just maybe talking it through with you, I'm feeling a little bit like, okay, I could make this work. I could do a combination of these things, you know?
And I'm wondering if the reason why you stop before you start in pursuing any of these options, because they did come up so readily for you, which was really cool to see. But maybe the reason you stop before you start is because of the energy you know it's going to require, and also the possibility of being disappointed when it doesn't work right away or easily or not at all, and you have to try something different.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that. In fact, I went through a period of my life when I had 3 little ones where I just took exercise off the table altogether because I found that it was just causing me to be in such a bad mood when I didn't get to,
Mhm.
that I was just like, "You know what, Alicia? You need to just wake up in the morning and put your clothes on for the day." Because it was so horrible for my mental health when I was like putting on exercise clothes and then inevitably like 5 hours later, I never exercised. And I was so frustrated at my
Mhm.
kids. And I was like, this isn't right. So then when I took it off the table, I was like, wow, I'm so much happier.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
You're ready
overall, we
now to
still need
switch
to
back.
exercise.
Okay.
So, I'm like,
Times and
now I need to
seasons.
get back in.
And
Yes.
I actually shared I spotlighted you for that I think a couple months ago when you shared that when we talked about limitations on Instagram and just how you shared just embracing that season that really helped you move through it better. But now I can see like the 3 older ones are in school. The youngest one is, I mean, still really posing some difficulties, but it's still at least easier than 3 little ones at home at the same time. So it's time.
Yeah.
So here's how I want to
Hmm.
do this. We're going to explore the options that you proposed, but we're going to first do this with a shift in two ways. And one is to have the persistence behind this about why this matters to you. That being the drive to you being willing to try and try within one option or try many options until something works because of why it matters to you right now in this season. Can you name that for yourself? Why does it matter?
I want to just be able to show up in my life, in the way that is important to me. And I feel like sometimes when we're not in the place we want to be health wise, it's harder to show up. Just even like physically, like not feeling like I get tired as easily. I think in that way, just wanting to be able to show up for my life. I'm not like so out of shape, but I do feel a difference in my body. And I also just turned 40. I didn't just turn 40. I'm going to be 41 in a few weeks. But,
Amazing.
I do feel like a major difference in my
Yeah.
energy and in my life. And just kind of like, okay, let's stop surviving and let's start thriving. So yeah,
Mhm.
I just think it is important to me. And I also have had that realization of like, okay, I'm 40. Let's be honest. Okay, there are people in their 50s and 60s that look amazing and have a ton of energy, but I feel like 40 is my last decade of feeling maybe kind of young-ish.
Mhm. I get
And so
that.
I'm like, this is my decade. I've gotta get things moving now because if not, health-wise, things I think take a big downturn for
It gets
people.
harder.
So, I mean, it's never too late, but I just am kind of like, you know what? It's time. I need to just really make this happen. I want to be my best self for myself and for my family and just enjoying life and not feeling like I have limitations and things holding me back.
Mhm. And speaking of those limitations, a lot of what you brought up with your obstacles were honestly energy related. You know, the
Yeah.
sleep schedule, the not being able to get up early, not be able to do it at night, the just the exhaustion that can come up mentally and also
Mm,
physically with having to be in an urgent reactive season of responding to children or interruptions or responsibilities. That's all energy. So that's a big one
yeah.
right there. So I'm going to repeat back what you
Yeah.
said. This is kind of the summary, right? You want this so that you can have the energy you need to show up as yourself. Because when you don't have that energy, it's really hard to feel like yourself. Also for
Yeah.
longevity and to feel like you're thriving.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. I want that to be something you're holding inside because you probably will have to pivot even after we come up with the way we want you to begin. You will expect to pivot, plan to pivot. I should have said that first because that's cuter.
Plan to pivot. I love it.
Plan to pivot. Okay, the second thing I wanted you to consider a shift is to considering your season and these limitations. How can you set yourself up for more success by also making your goal here more realistic to your season? Does that make sense? Like
Mhm.
actually what exercise can look like for you.
Yeah. I started doing just like on the Fitness Plus thing on my phone. They have 10-minute workouts. And I was like, okay, 10 minutes. Like I can do a 10-minute, even 15 sometimes feels like, oh man, that's daunting. I'm not going to be able to get
Sure.
15, but 10, and
That's
trying to
great.
not have the all or nothing thinking of just like, okay, well, I could fit two 10-minute workouts in somewhere. Right.
Okay, that's awesome. And so tell me overall, like if you're looking at a week and you're considering your season and where you want to more realistically start out with your goal. It won't be the end goal. Like that will rise better with time, right? And as things get
Yeah.
better with your circumstances, what would you like to do exercise wise?
So this is the small step goal, right?
Yes.
This is the baby step goal. I mean, realistically, I would love to get in like 20 solid minutes a day and reach 10,000 steps, like 20 minutes of some sort of strength training, total body something, and then meeting my 10,000 steps. That would be ideal for like, I think a realistic goal, right?
And well, to get your 10,000 steps, do you find that's kind of easy to do around the house, or would that be a stretch that means you need to go for a walk as well?
I definitely feel like I get like 8,000 typically. So it is a little bit more. I definitely need to fit the more walking in to get to
Okay.
10,000.
Okay, great. So, of that, 20 minutes a day of strength training of some sort, and then 10,000 steps. Now, let's think about where you're at right now. And there's no shame here, but what
Yeah.
after that is happening for you now?
Realistically, I try to get to my Zumba class once a week, but it's hit and miss because it's kind of early and my husband commutes, so he can't always be there. So I'm just at the mercy of that.
Mm.
So some weeks I get the 1 hour Zumba in, and then I'm
And is that
trying
at
to
the
do, like I
gym?
said, like,
Sorry, I
yeah,
interrupted you.
I do have a
Okay,
team membership, but that one doesn't have childcare.
got it.
So I
Okay,
need to join the one with childcare.
okay.
So, and then I typically get like 8,000 steps a day. And I'm right now maybe lucky if I'm doing the 10-minute workout 3 times a week. So we're definitely starting low here.
No, no, honestly, you're not though. I mean, I want to honor
I
just how great it is
I
that
feel
you're
like it's a
doing
doable step up, but
that. No, I get where you're coming from when you've been in a place where that would have been like, what? Like that's nothing.
mhm,
But it's not nothing. And I'm sure there's a lot of
mm,
people listening who would be like, wow, that would be my ideal. And not to
yeah,
downplay how that feels for you to not be where you want to be. But I just want to honor like that's not nothing there. That's something to build off
yes,
of for sure. Okay. So we have a more realistic ideal of 20 minutes a day of strength training and 10,000 steps a week, a day, not a week, sorry. And then 10,000 steps a week would be cool. But no, we're doing,
yeah. That would be great if we were just relaxing on
yeah,
vacation, maybe.
yeah, that's right. Now, before we do the baseline version, actually, let's look at the possibility list that you had before. And let's figure out what feels good and more possible for you to start with of those things you shared. And let me know if you want me to repeat them or if you know top of mind already, like, okay, this one. I know realistically, this is what will help me get to that point more
hmm
easily.
I mean, the one that tops out is, I mean, it's not easy, but it is. It's just like, just go straight to the expensive childcare at the gym and just know that you can maybe get the hour in. Um, but that also does have other things tied with it that are holding me back a little.
Mhm.
So I guess what I could do tomorrow, would just be to try and fit it in during the day when the older kids are at home or at school and my younger one. Also, I didn't mention nap time. Nap time sometimes though overlaps with right after my daughter gets home. So,
Okay.
you know, anyway, but maybe just prioritize doing it during nap time and just say, you know what? All the other stuff will get done when it gets done. And I need to just carve out this time every day to do 20 minutes during nap time.
Okay. So of those two, so try the expensive gym childcare route, but would honestly maybe lower some mental hurdles because you don't have to manage the little guy. It's one of those things like if you're paying for it, you're willing to get there a little bit better, but
Yeah,
have
exactly.
mhm, but have the trade-offs of him potentially getting sick more easily or maybe not liking childcare and the money, or
Hmm.
just prioritizing nap time, I'm exercising even when my other kid is home. Or they watch a show or do Cosmic Kids yoga while I'm doing
Yeah, exactly. The yoga thing.
mhm. Yeah, I don't know if the 2-year-old would be up for that yet, maybe so. So of those 2, what's like, okay, I'm trying to lower the hurdle here. Even though ultimately I want it to be something, this is gonna be the most likely way I can move forward more consistently.
Yeah, I'm thinking I should just start with the nap time and see what my frustration level is of when other things interrupt and get in the way,
Okay.
because that's something that I can just do. And I don't, obviously, there's hurdles of like, I got to call the gym and I got to get signed up. And there's like 10 things that are involved with that. So if what I'm going to do right now, I probably just need to focus on the nap time exercise.
Okay. I think that sounds great. And there, I kind of feel like that's what your strength training time, right? Because you can't necessarily, unless you've got to walk up and down your street with the baby monitor
Yeah.
attached to you, you probably can't do a walk at that time. Unless you maybe could do that. I mean, maybe that works with the
Yeah.
baby monitor.
Yeah. It's a good idea. Hadn't thought of it.
Desperate times. Okay,
I
so
mean, no. I mean, I have no problem with that. Some people listening are probably like, how could you?" But yeah.
I don't know. I think if you're right in front of your house and walking back and forth, I
Or
would
walking
say,
around my house 50 times.
yeah,
Sometimes my
you can do that.
other kids like to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So during nap time, you could either walk or do your strength training, or maybe both. But let's come up with on your worst of day, what's that worst of day version that will just help you be consistent. So you're in the momentum of doing this.
Probably on my worst day, I need to just either do 2 10-minute workouts wherever I can, or maybe just shoot for the 10,000 steps and 5-minute strength training or something. Just do something, right?
So when you say 2 to 10 minute, are you talking in the same nap time or are you talking about throughout the week?
Or like, yeah, like throughout the day. Like maybe just be like, okay, jump rope for 5 minutes in the morning and then do it again, like try and just space it out
Yeah. And I
instead
think
of,
you could try that. And I honestly think, why not? Like, say, I can exercise where and how I can. But at bare minimum, I know at nap time, this is my baseline. I always do this
yeah.
during nap time. So that way you have something like a touchstone of sorts that either in the moment you're in the
Yeah.
momentum and you can do more than you thought, or it creates more energy for later in the day.
Hmm. So good.
So what could that be? A nap time baseline way of exercising on your worst of day.
Yeah. I think the nap time baseline is I need to get 10 minutes in during, that's the baseline.
Okay. And that can happen even if, let's say, another kid is home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even if he wakes up,
And I
even
was
if
just going
for
to ask
some reason
that.
he doesn't take a nap, it's like
Great.
I can finish it up.
Okay. So during nap time. So now let's come up with the quick WT, like a when then pairing here. So what always happens at the beginning of nap time that you can then attach this 10 minutes to? Or maybe it's even, I mean, because if you're getting dressed earlier in the day, maybe when I put my baby down, then I'll put on
Hmm.
my workout clothes.
Hmm.
When I put on my workout clothes, then I'll do my 10 minutes, wherever that may be.
Yeah. Or I might not even put on my workout clothes for the 10
Just
minutes.
gonna say that a lot of people say that's a big obstacle in a
Yeah,
surprising
it
ways.
really honestly is. It
Yeah,
is. I mean, if
let's
I'm
just
wearing
do it.
jeans, I'll change out jeans, but I'm just gonna do it because to be
Yes.
honest, in 10 minutes, I'm not gonna get that sweaty.
Okay, let's do that. When I put my baby down, then, and where do you go to exercise? I'm just trying to get really specific. So in your head, you go right to this spot and you press play.
Um, to our office.
Okay. All right. So this is our clear plan. When I put my baby down for his nap, then I'll go to the office and do my 10-minute workout. How does that feel to you?
Love it. It feels manageable. It feels doable. It doesn't feel overwhelming.
Okay. And here's the thing I want you to challenge that may come up because you're going to have like even the first day where that 10 minutes may seem like too much. And if that happens too often, then you got to have a lower baseline, maybe 5 minutes. And the
Mhm.
other resistance that may come up is that you're going to think that's nothing. So why even try? Why bother? And I
Yeah.
really want you to prove yourself wrong by doing the baseline anyway, because the more you do that, even the baseline, like we've talked about, the more energy you're going to have in general, but also more momentum. And you might find you're able to do more than you thought in the moment or later on in the day. So challenge yourself to push against that resistance. Like that doesn't count because it does.
Mm. Yeah. And I probably should have said this in the beginning. I feel like I have ADHD, so that doesn't help. So, you start and then you're like, you see the dishes and you're like, I gotta
Yes.
do those though. And you
And
think you should do four things at once,
I
and then
get
you
it.
end up doing nothing.
Well, I don't get it personally because I don't have ADHD myself, but I do have
Yeah.
children, 3 with
Yeah.
ADHD. So
So
I
great,
understand
that
that.
brain.
Yeah. So that's why I am going to do my darndest to help you have that very clear plan. When I put him down,
Yes.
then I walk right to the office. If you want to jumpstart this, I want you to practice that like 3 to 5 times in a row after we get off the call. And you're going to feel dumb because you're like going to go in your baby's room and pretend you're putting him
Mm-hmm.
down for a nap and then walk to the office. And you're going to do that 3 to 5 times. But the reason I'm going to encourage you to do that is because you're creating the brain body connection so that in real time, you're more likely to remember because it's more clear in your head.
Yeah.
When I put the baby down, then I walk to the office and I do. And if it feels like too much, say 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
How's that all feeling to
I
you?
think I can do 10.
I
I
think
think
you
I can do
can.
10.
I
Like
think you
that's
can too.
super manageable. They'll take at least a 10-minute nap.
Yes, that's the clear WT. A WT. The A part is just when you do it, you affirm it in yourself. You say, "I did it. Good job." Even if it was the baseline, you always say, "Yes, they did it." Okay, so Alycia, we have a starting place for you. I am looking forward to seeing what progress is made for you and how this consistency can help you create momentum towards your bigger goal there of 20 minutes a day and 10,000 steps. And that's something the walk part, maybe we can talk about that separately or you can think about that yourself. Is like maybe when your husband gets home, you get to go for a 20-minute walk each day and that's just set in stone.
Yeah.
But that can be
Yeah.
another thing you're thinking about and repotentializing. What do you want to take away from this call?
I think I just need to take away from this that sometimes you just gotta stop putting the barriers up and just do it. It's really hard and we can have a million excuses, but sometimes you just gotta push forward and try something. Like you just say, the do something list. You just gotta do something
Oh, I love
and you
that.
just gotta start. And then the momentum will come. And I know it will. It's just kind of prioritizing all these thoughts and putting myself first, right?
Yeah. And I would even say you're just putting yourself on the list, which is
Yeah,
important.
yeah. It's not.
Well, and
Yeah.
you can do that too in other ways if you need to, but literally it can just be like the first thing you do each day is give yourself like a minute to breathe before you go
Hmm.
about your duties.
Exactly.
And I do just want to validate that there, like you mentioned, there is a difference between honoring your circumstances and luxuriating in them. Like it's possible to accept you have limitations, but also not let them stand in your way to completely, you
Yeah.
know?
And also just realizing like that people aren't being lazy. It's just often sometimes you just don't even have the brain space to go through this alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like um someone's so lazy they're just sitting on the couch with bonbons, which okay, maybe sometimes you do that because you just
Yeah.
need that mental break.
Oh, I
But
love doing that.
the reality is it's really hard
Yeah.
when you have so many things on the plate to even go there with, any feeling luxuries of life, even though it's not a luxury because we need our health and to move our bodies to survive. But
Mhm.
sometimes it feels like that has to come off the plate because there's just so many other pressing things. But just realizing that I need to just make the mental space to make it happen and find a way. So I'm so
Beautiful.
grateful for you for working through this with me. It's just renewing my why and
Mhm.
helping me see clearly a path.
Well, you did it. I mean, I didn't give you the answers, which I hope you can see when you listen back to this call. Like you did it. And we all need a mirror. We all need a mirror to help us know what we already know. So I'm glad that's
Mhm.
where we are able to get to today for you. And I would love to hear from you. Like, let me know how it goes. And if you have any pivots that you need help working through, I'm happy to help you with them. Well, thank you so much. I
Oh,
really
thank you
enjoyed
so
this with
much,
you.
Monica.
Okay, that was so great. I'm going to press.
Having exercise in my life and being able to fit that in somewhere.
Great. And is this it specifically about summer or is it in general? Did you say summer?
Sorry. No,
I thought you
wait.
said
Did
summer. So you said that you said
I
fitting
say summer?
exercise in summer. No, this is me and my hearing
Oh,
impairment. So that's why I had to clarify.
oh, oh, oh.
Okay, we'll just keep going
Okay.
then because
Yeah.
that's why I asked